Hello everyone, welcome back to FiddleUP. I'm Emerald Ray and we are going to be talking some tech. And I'm going to go through all the gear that I used in my solo show so you can see what a nerd I am. I love geeking out about this stuff. So if this is not your thing, feel free to skip on to the next video. But I hope it is your thing because you know, the gear is so important to make your sound be what it's supposed to be. And I love thinking about this stuff way too much. So people ask me all the time, what do you use? And I will go through piece by piece my whole setup here. So first we have this really beautiful, amazing, custom-made fiddle pickup setup that was made by Matt Mancuso, who's an amazing fiddle player who used to live in New York. He has now moved back to Ireland. Not back to Ireland, to Ireland. He's from New York. He plays guitar in Arlene Ivers's band these days. And Matt is amazing. He's an incredible fiddle player and is also, you know, a whiz with a soldering iron. So he was making these Frankenstein monsters of, you know, I'll stick, you know, whatever microphone you want with whatever pickup you want and make a hybrid. So it's got a little jack underneath the chin rest and it connects to two different things. It's a stereo setup. So we have a Countryman lavalier pickup here, or it's microphone, sorry. And then here, this was my special request. It's a K&K ukulele big spot pickup. And this was a special request because Matt usually is throwing together a microphone and a bridge pickup, but I do not like bridge pickups, so that's why we went with the little sticky piezo. It's a really nice sticky piezo though, and let me tell you, it's the best thing I've ever played on. It's really awesome. I love it so much. I highly recommend. These are, as I said, this is custom. Somebody made this for me, but I would really say if you're okay with the sticky, I was like a little, my fiddles are both really old. This fiddle's 120 years old. It's like, you know, it's like makes you cringe to think of sticking a sticky on your fiddle. But after years of trying all kinds of different pickups, I just wanted what I wanted. And so this is right on the wood and it's right stuck on the bass bar. And it's just like, mwah, oh, it sounds so good. It sounds like a real fiddle. It sounds like a real violin because it's picking up the wood, not the bridge. So it just sounds amazing and needs very little EQ, if anything. And it's amazing. It's so good that I hardly ever use the microphone, actually. That's how good it is. I just use the pickup all the time. I really only have this microphone there in case I do some kind of acoustic gig where I want to do a blend, but had I known how good this was going to turn out, I might have not even bothered getting the microphone on there either. As I do my solo show, I'm singing in the microphone right next to the fiddle, so that picks up enough air that it sounds, you know, it's just this microphone is just, where is it? Sorry, this microphone is just to fill it out a little bit and pick up some air, but really the meat and potatoes is the piezo pickup. So I would highly recommend to anybody who's suffering from feedback issues and is thinking of going electric, like this is such a great deal. So in terms of other pickups, there's other things you can do. You can get the bridge pickups. LR Bags pickups are really good for a bridge pickup. I just don't love the sound of the bridge. It's just not my favorite thing. I got the idea of using you know, something to pick up just the wood tones because I was using this thing called a band pickup, which wraps around the fiddle. And I loved it actually, but it was such a pain to take on and off, especially around gigs and when you're like it just seemed a little dangerous to me. So yeah, I needed a permanent solution to that where I wouldn't be taking it on. I could just plug it in and go. So that is what I have. I also have, in need of doing an acoustic gig where I use this microphone, a little preamp blender pack that I can put Velcroed right to the back of the shoulder rest here. That's actually a little trick. If you need to put a pack underneath your fiddle, Velcro it to the shoulder rest. That took me forever to figure out, and I'm not using it right now, again, because my pickup's so good, I don't really need it. But if I was gonna do that, I have a little teeny weeny blender pack with just a 9-volt battery, and it just goes on there. Little cord. You could even do wireless out from there if you wanted to do that. So those are all my potential options, but usually I'm just going straight out from the pickup because that is the best thing. And then I go into my little tiny baby pedal board, my eensy weensy pedal board. So I have 2 fiddles that I play in the show, and they both go into the same channel. So I have a little ABY switcher. This is made by Copper Pedals, which is based in Boston. And this is really awesome because it is a passive active pedal. So it doesn't have to be plugged in, which is awesome. It can just be a switcher. I've noticed that it does have to have 2 instruments plugged into it to function passively. So what I do if I'm just going to play one fiddle is I just pull it out and then I plug directly into my preamp right from here. So if I'm going to just use one fiddle, I just go straight into number 2 here. And this is a Headway single channel. I think it's an EDM1. And this is just for a little bit of EQ, a little notch filter, a little gain control. It's a great preamp. It's really tiny. It just does exactly what I need it to do. And it works really well. Headway is the same company that made that band pickup, the one that wraps around. So I originally bought this to go with that, but it's a great small tiny model. And then I have a Nanopog, because everything has to be tiny on this pedal board. I have a Nanopog, which is an octave pedal. It's a polyphonic octave pedal. And I'm using this these days. This is a certain point in time. This is, December of 2022. So at this point, I'm just using this a little bit to beef out my sound. I'm not going full on octave crazy. If you see me in later years and I'm going octave crazy, that's not this point in time. I just got this so that I can just add some meat to my fiddle's bones, because when you're playing just fiddle in the show, it's easy for things to feel a little bit thin. So I just set this so it's just coming out a little bit so that I can hear it a little bit and I know it's there. But I have played gigs with this and had other musicians in the audience, and they had no idea I was using an octave pedal. It's really just to fill out the sound so I sound bigger and fuller. So that is what that is used for. And then I have my LR Bags Active DI, which is a good thing to have. Sometimes you'll go to a gig and they won't have a DI. I mean, not usually, but it's always a good idea to bring your own DI. It makes it easier for everybody. It makes it easier for the stage setup and everything. Plus I use this as a mute switch as well. I hit this when I want to turn myself off, which often happens. So yeah, I use that to get out to an XLR line. So when I use this, I just, say that I just need an XLR line with phantom power. Phantom power powers this DI, and then I'm ready to go. So that is that. I also use a supercardioid condenser vocal mic, if anybody's interested in this kind of thing, for if you're doing fiddle singing for real. This is a secret weapon of mine for sure. This is a KSM9, a Shure KSM9 supercardioid vocal mic. And so this is a supercardioid condenser, just picks up right here. So it'll pick up out a little bit, but it's mostly focused on just picking up what's right here. So that means that it can be picking up my voice right here and not picking up so much of the fiddle, which is really important. If I have to play into a 58, it's a nightmare because the fiddle comes through so loud. So I had to get a much more detailed vocal mic. The great thing about having this is I can belt into it like a total diva, and it can handle anything. So I don't have to do any of this vocal technique, when you're already, when you're already singing and playing the fiddle at the same time, having to back off from the mic is really a bummer. So I don't need to back off. I can just wail right into this thing and it won't make any difference. So yeah, if you're getting into fiddle singing, seriously, get one of these. It's expensive, but it's worth it. The last thing I use specifically for my solo show is I have a Floyd Soul Stomp, and this is made by Cynthia Floyd, who lives in Nashville, Tennessee, and she makes these really amazing stomp boxes that are all acoustic. There's a dynamic mic in there, and it just goes 1/4 inch out, and it sounds like a beast. It's amazing. So there's 2 panels, and I have one covered in a very, very thick kitchen liner. I got this at Target somewhere, but it's like a rolled foam. And so this is what I use for the kick drum side, and then this side I hit with a leather bottom shoe on the other side, and it gets more of a slap. But basically, yeah, this is the doofer. And I like to call it my pedestal because I stand on it on stage, and between my hair and the pedestal, I look like I'm about 9 feet tall. So Cynthia Floyd also makes a bigger version of this, which I used to bring out to shows. This is the road version, but I also have the big 23 by 23 big stomp that she makes, and that is a full-on dance board. So I actually use that as a dance board these days, and I use this for taking out to gigs. So that is that. I just have a couple more things to go through here. I will talk you through my bows because I do love my bows. I'm a carbon fiber girl. I really love carbon fiber. You know, I have never met a bow that I liked better than a carbon fiber bow that was like less than 10 grand. And honestly, bows are so easy to break, and there's so much that can go wrong. And I am very careful with my gear, but even I have clumsy moments. So I honestly don't feel comfortable spending 10 grand on a bow that could react very extremely to weather changes or get smashed on the tip or something like that. I was playing a gig a couple weeks ago at this place where, because I was standing on my pedestal and everything, the ceiling was really low and my bow was actually hitting the pipes in the ceiling. So you know what? Anything can happen. You can drop your bow. I just feel like plastic bows are the way to go. The other thing is I like a really light bow, so it really would be very expensive for me to get like a perfect bow that I really loved. And then I couldn't take on the road, and not to be all alarmist, but things can happen to wood bows. Like TSA can take them at the airport because they think they're some kind of imported wood or something, or like banned wood. It's just, life is too short. So this bow that I play on most of the time these days is a carbon fiber copy of a Claudio Righetti bow. And I didn't buy this bow. This was actually given to me by somebody who's very generous and loves fiddle music and loves to just buy presents for fiddle players. So thank you very much, Buzz, for this awesome gift. And so, I didn't purchase this. I don't actually know very much about it, but it is awesome. It's really great. I think it retailed at around $2,500, I think. Don't quote me on that. I'm not quite sure. But yeah, somewhere in there. And it's really a great bow. It's really very nicely balanced and beautifully made. So it's a copy of some old bow that was really good. So that is a recent addition. I also have my handy dandy music Harry bow that I bought in the Shari catalog when I was like 14 years old. And I spent most of the last 20 years playing on this bow, actually. And this is one of the very first carbon fiber bows that ever came out. And, it very quickly shot up in price after I bought it because it's such a good bow. But I don't think they make them anymore, which is a real bummer. So this one is almost as good as that one. It's really super duper light. It's great. It looks like it's black, but it's actually green. If you can see some like emerald with her green bow that you can only see in certain types of light. But yeah, you can see it a little bit. So it's a great bow, and I've played it so much that I've worn out the little rubber thing in there. There's like a nice, very comfy hole for my my hand to live in because it's just morphed to my hand. The other thing I do, which is a little strange but very cool, I don't know if you can see this very well, but I use black bow hair. This was a trend for like 10 minutes, like 15 years ago. I just kept doing it. I loved it. Yeah, this was some kind of trend that happened in the fiddle world over a decade ago where everybody was trying out black bow hair, and I have honestly not a clue why that happened or why everybody jumped on that bandwagon. Everybody else quickly jumped off. I think people were not liking it and trying to do like salt and pepper, like mixes of it, and everybody else gave up on it very quickly. I, on the other hand, am the only weirdo who's still doing this. It's contrabass bow hair, and I just love the grit level. Like, I really love it so much more than white bow hair. So what the black contrabass bow hair is, what is happening is that it's not processed. So it's not going through the bleaching and refining process that you have to go through with white bow hair. So white bow hair will have a much softer feel. This is like playing on sandpaper, and I love it so much. It's just, I have so much control. It's great. It's like driving a stick shift rather than driving automatic, honestly. And because I'm a stick shift girl, you can pry my stick shift for my cold dead hands. You can also pry my black bow hair for my cold dead hands. But it's an acquired taste. It's very gritty. You have to know exactly how to get in there, but I feel like it really contributes to my sound in a way that I love. It also lasts forever, honestly. I really don't like getting my bows rehaired all the time. So this stuff will, I can push this to lasting a year, which is pretty good for a rehair, especially considering they're so expensive these days. So I give that a try if you want to. And so last but not least, I have a little trick up my sleeve that nobody else does. Actually, some of my students are doing it now, but I have a little ukulele strap that I use to hold up my fiddle. And I will be making a video on this later and talking about this. This is a Levy's Leathers ukulele strap, like a little skinny Belinky mini one. These are unfortunately discontinued. The second I found they were discontinued, I went and bought whatever was left on the internet, and there was only like 4 of them, so I have them all, ha ha ha. But, I'm actually thinking of making these, so check back. Maybe by the time you watch this video, I will have made my own fiddle straps, but you can use a ukulele strap to hold up your fiddle. And again, we'll talk about this in a later video. But if you're suffering from any like hooking your chin is a problem issues, I found that with moving over to fiddle singing for an entire show, that it was really difficult for me to be juggling my chin hook all the time. So this is like acts like a second chin and holds it up. So this is my little secret weapon. And so, yeah, I'll make a video about that later. And for those of you who want to buy a ukulele strap, I know some of my students have gone and done that already. I wish this one was still available. There's also one by D'Addario makes one that's only a little bit bigger than this, but it's still not great. So yeah, send me an email and inspire me to get into manufacturing, will ya? Well, anyway, I hope you have a great day. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please send me questions if you want to know more about all things techie and geeky and all that stuff. And I will see you in the next video.